Here is your General Hospital Spoilers sneak peek video for Thursday, September 4th, 25. As news of Drew's shooting spreads throughout Port Charles, suspicions form everywhere. Trina wonders if her mother did something more extreme than altering Heather Weber's test results that very night. Does she suspect that Portia may have shot Drew? Dante pays a visit to Alexis to ask questions, but she doesn't really want to talk and tells Dante that she is going to have to ask him to leave. Is Alexis worried about the fact that she has had a man chained to a gurney in her basement for the past week? Having a cop in her living room might not be a good idea. At the hospital, Willow waits for word on Drew. She is surprised to see Nina and asks her how she knew Drew was shot. Did it ever occur to Willow that we live in 2025 and news of a shooting, especially the shooting of a congressman, would be all over the news? We're sure Nina just picked up her phone and found out. As Anna and Chase discuss the case, Chase comes to Willow's defense, which he has been doing for weeks. Anna refuses to rule Willow out as a suspect, but Chase is sure she couldn't have done it. Not sweet Willow. After finding Drew's wounded body, Tracy needs to decompress. She doesn't much like her nephew, but she certainly does not want to see him dead and demonstrated that when she called 911. However, Tracy is more concerned about Monica's well-being than anyone else. She worries about how Monica will feel when she hears the news and tells Michael that his grandmother can never find out. How does Tracy expect to hide the truth from Monica when she has access to a television and her phone? Is there something else that Tracy wants to keep a secret? Michael appears more pensive than usual, so maybe he has something to hide. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers hint that Drew Kane may end up in a wheelchair after paralysis. Will a spine injury turn Drew's world upside down and force him to overcome some new challenges? There may be a reason why GH writers had the shooter pump 2 bullets into Drew's back specifically. It was mentioned that the bullets wound up close to Drew's spine, so there's the potential for a paralysis story here. Once Drew awakens, he may find that he has a serious lack of mobility. Drew could face some difficult updates if he's paralyzed and forced to adjust to life in a wheelchair. Of course, there could be some hope for Drew to recover the use of his legs, depending on the severity of his injuries. But he may struggle with pain and physical therapy. Drew might become a more sympathetic character through a situation like this, which is something he could use to his advantage. This could become another manipulative tool for Drew, especially if he fakes being in a wheelchair even after he's recovered. As for how that recovery might happen, Drew might undergo a cutting-edge procedure since we know he has connections for that sort of thing. Drew proved that when he helped arrange a trailblazing surgery for Kai Taylor. This could even link to the storyline that Jen Sidwell, Ossets, Sneezins, Professor Henry Dalton, and Britt Westbourne are all tangled up in. If Britt can receive a drug to help cure her Huntington's disease, then there might be a miracle paralysis cure for Drew too. It could be used as the mystery boss leverage to control Drew and maybe expand his plans. Regardless, we have to consider the possibility of Drew getting paralyzed on some level and finding himself in a wheelchair soon. Those bullets being too close to Drew's spine could indeed lead to consequences. The hottest game in town these days is trying to figure out exactly who shot General Hospital's Drew Kane. Sure, there are suspects galore, but there's one particular person who quickly shot, pun intended, to the top of the list, Willow Tate. Better still, if she did pull the trigger, there's probably not a judge in the land who'd throw her behind bars. Why? Well, let's take a closer look by throwing the victim's would-be wife under the suspect's spotlight, shall we? Admit it. The moment someone pumped bullets into Drew, you thought to yourself, well, looks like Willow finally snapped. And who could blame her, given the horrific way he has manipulated and gaslit the woman he claims to love? Heck, at one point, he purposefully lied to her son, Wiley, in order to drive a wedge between the tot and his dad. Who does that? While it's true that half of Port Charles spent the evening in question threatening to do away with the corrupt congressman, none had as much of a motive as Willow. Combine that with her increasing instability, much of which was, of course, caused by Drew, and it's easy to picture her picking up a gun and pumping 2 bullets into the dude. That, however, is true of a lot of Drew's constituents. So what has us convinced that she's the culprit? It has a little something to do with the weather on the evening in question. Ironically, it was the kind of dark and stormy night which kicks off so many murder mysteries, both in print and on screen, that it's practically a stereotype. And guess who abandoned her post at the nurse's station for several hours before turning up looking like the proverbial drowned rat? Although an incredibly cute one, we will no doubt find ourselves pushing other Port Charles residents into the suspect spotlight in the weeks to come. And it seems pretty obvious that poor Kai will wind up on the police's radar thanks to the bat he accidentally left behind. But for now, we're focusing our attention on Willow and asking, do you think she might be guilty? On General Hospital, Jens Austin Astrup is in the middle of his juiciest storyline on the show. His character, Kai Taylor, was in Drew Kane's house, along with his ex-girlfriend, Trina Robinson, when the congressman was shot. They were trying to steal information from Drew's safe that Drew was using to blackmail Trina's mother, Portia. Kai was in this position when, after several months of being Drew's intern on General Hospital, he finally realized how bad and corrupt Drew was after overhearing his boss making threats. He agreed to help Trina steal the papers to make it up to her family. While the former Port Charles University quarterback was doing some soul-searching on General Hospital, his portrayer bared a lot of his soul on State of Mind, Maurice Benard's Mental Health Talk series. Astrup, whose first name is pronounced Jens, told his General Hospital co-star how his father committed suicide when Jens was 15. The death of his father came as the entire family struggled financially. When he was 4, his parents moved him and his 2 siblings from Chicago to Los Angeles to find success in Hollywood. He said they had some success, with them auditioning for commercials, and his brother landing a major McDonald's commercial. Jens also appeared in 2 episodes of the sitcom The King of Queens when he was a boy. When he was a boy, his father bought him some new Converse tennis shoes, even though he couldn't afford them. He said, "My parents did a good job that even when we were struggling, they never wanted us to. They couldn't hide it necessarily, but they never wanted us to feel that." Jens tore the shoes after getting the laces caught in the gears. He said his dad was really upset about it, which happened about 2 weeks before his dad took his life. Jens said a high school friend of his dad's told him how much his dad regretted how upset he became at that. After his father's death, Jens and his family moved in with his great-aunt and uncle. Astrup said that his father was the most fun guy of all time, but also struggled with mental illness at times. He told Benard, "He was depressed for sure. I've got to know even more since he died. I think it was a culmination of a lot of things. I think he had a lot of regret. I think he felt a lot of guilt. Life was getting too hard. I think even money was too hard for him. We really struggled growing up. We struggled pretty severely." Later in the interview, Astrup talked to Benard about how he finds peace through the pain in his past. The new General Hospital star, in his first year on the show, said he regularly writes in a journal, "This is a piece that I've had to work really hard to build," Astrup said. "It's taken a long, long time. If you had met me 3 years ago, I would have walked in with the same smile, but it wouldn't be grounded." Astrup said part of that is having a steady acting job and being more able to enjoy simple pleasures in life. "With this job, I have my own place and moved in with my girlfriend, and I bought an air purifier," he said. "I'm enjoying, and I'm here to be alive, and I feel blessed to even breathe my purified air, and I can just feel it. I'm at ease. Peace is realizing when I get tired or I get home, changing my shoes into my comfy shoes and sitting down on a chair and feeling it. The relaxation, knowing that no matter what chair I'm sitting in, I'm going to be all right." Before coming to General Hospital, Astrup guest-starred in 2 episodes of the Gossip Girl reboot series. He has also recently appeared in short films Baby Talk and I Don't. General Hospital recap for Wednesday, September 3rd, reveals that Drew Kane was rushed to surgery after Tracy Quartermain's bloody discovery. Willow Tate also fainted in Harrison Chase's arms, so let's talk about how it all went down. At Drew's place, the shooter left Drew bleeding on the floor. Kai Taylor came out of the bedroom, armed with a bat, and urged Trina Robinson to stay put, but she followed him to the living room anyway. Trina realized Drew was seriously injured, so she checked and said he still had a pulse. Although Trina wanted to call for help, Kai insisted they couldn't be there and convinced her to leave with him when a car showed up outside. Kai left the door ajar, so it was Tracy who found Drew and tried to stop the bleeding with a blanket. Tracy called 911, so Anna Devane and Dante Falconeri questioned her about what happened. Tracy was there to confront Drew about all the restraining orders drama. There was also confirmation on Scout Quartermain being at a camp sleepover, which was a relief. Dante and Anna noticed there was no sign of forced entry in the home, so they speculated that either the door was unlocked or that Drew let his shooter in. Back with Kai and Trina, they had a tense conversation at her apartment. Trina struggled since they just left without helping Drew, but Kai thought bolting was the right call. Kai had a key and could have made up an excuse to explain his own presence, but there was no reason for Trina to be there. In addition to protecting Trina from any criminal charges, Kai came through for her by revealing he'd grabbed the evidence against Portia Robinson. After Trina looked at the file Kai stole, she realized she couldn't even tell Portia and Curtis Ashford they were in the clear since no one could know what they did tonight. At GH, Willow showed up soaking wet after bailing in the middle of her shift and then returning. Elizabeth Baldwin questioned Willow and later downplayed Willow's unprofessional actions to Lucas Jones. Lucas seemed concerned about Liz's head nurse status and what she was willing to let Willow get away with. The paramedics brought Drew in, so Lucas, Elizabeth, and the rest of the medical team began working on him. The bullets hit close to Drew's spine, so things were tricky. Drew needed some transfusions and was ultimately taken to surgery. Chase eventually approached Willow and gave her updates on Drew's shooting, so Willow fainted in his arms. Once Willow regained consciousness, she was eager to learn more about Drew's condition. At the Quartermain mansion, Michael Corinthos came home looking all wet and found Brooke Lynn Quartermain consoling Wiley Corinthos with hot chocolate after a nightmare. Wiley was upset since Michael hadn't answered his phone, but Michael said he forgot it in the car. Michael gave Wiley plenty of reassurance before speaking with Brooke Lynn alone. That brought a discussion about Willow going back to Drew and how they had to do whatever it took to keep her away from the kids. At the Five Poppies Resort, Britt Westbourne slipped back in the room where Jocelyn, Jax, and Vaughn were being held. Jocelyn admitted she was a WSB agent along with Vaughn, which Britt found hard to believe. After Britt checked Vaughn's injuries, she said he'd live. Jocelyn pleaded for escape help, but Britt suggested there was only so much she could do and that they'd have to help themselves. However, Britt managed to sneak Jocelyn a pair of manicure scissors, which Vaughn and Jocelyn used to cut themselves free. That led to Jocelyn and Vaughn ambushing the guy who came to check on them later. Pascal was suspicious after catching Britt coming out of the hostage room, but she made it seem like she was curious and urged him not to do anything without the boss around. Britt made her way back to her suite, where she struggled to get a call out on the burner phone that Jason Morgan gave her. Jason was at the airport when his phone finally rang, so he answered it and had a hard time understanding garbled Britt. Britt insisted Jason had to get back there now, but Pascal caught her mid-phone call and turned menacing. Pascal didn't care what the boss said and insisted that Britt had gone too far. In Jack Brennan's office, Colette Moreau complained to Brennan about his agents not checking in and acted like the whole operation was a disaster. Brennan thought it seemed like Colette was eager to see him fail, but she pushed him to brief her and let her go clean this mess up. Once Carly Spencer interrupted, she spoke privately to Brennan about her face-off with Drew and reflected on how wrong she was about her former flame. Carly worried maybe she was wrong about Brennan too and was clearly wrestling with some trust issues. Brennan couldn't promise that he wouldn't hurt Carly, but he did acknowledge how painful the thought of that was and eased her mind. After Brennan was notified about Drew's shooting news, he said it was a good thing Carly had been with him this evening and clearly planned to be her alibi if need be. As for Portia Robinson, she got in bed next to Isaiah Gannon before getting called to the hospital. Portia found out about Drew's ordeal and planned to pitch in on his surgery. Is this the beginning of a beautiful friendship? General Hospital has trauma-bonded two unlikely besties. Portia and Nina barely knew each other until Drew brought them together. Portia was married to Curtis and Nina is a close friend of his, but the two women weren't really friends. Unfortunately for them, Drew was ruining their lives. Ava is close with both and thought they would make a good team. They did, and their plan to trap the congressman in an uncompromising position was gold. Drew doing body shots off Jacinda was a hilarious moment. Unfortunately, it was just a moment and did no lasting damage. Fast forward to when Portia wrecked her marriage and Nina lost her daughter. The two women met up to commiserate, but was the meeting more than that? Their table was abandoned when Drew was shot. Could they have teamed up to get rid of him once and for all? Whether they did it or not, this looks like the beginning of a beautiful surprise friendship. Nina and Portia only connected through their mutual friend, Ava. Talk about unlikely friendships. Nina once tried to kill Ava and steal her baby. If they can overcome that to become besties, anyone can become friends. Portia connected with the gallery owner through their mutual love of Trina. If anyone can get away with murder, it's Ava. She has done it more than once. If Portia and Nina did shoot Drew, they may turn to Ava for help. This threesome can probably do anything they set their minds to. Does anyone care about Rick? There has been a week full of excitement over Drew's shooting on General Hospital. In all the craziness, nobody seems to notice that Rick is nowhere to be found. Ava knocked Rick over the head. While he was unconscious, she, Alexis, and Christina tied him to a bed and gagged him. He is in a reverse panic room, which some say serves him right after doing it to Carly all those years ago. It is hard to say how long, in GH time, he has been there. Has anyone in Port Charles noticed he is missing? It doesn't seem like it, but then again, not many people would be looking for him. He is not very well liked in town, so who would really care that he hasn't shown his face? Ava cared for him, but that is over, and she was the one who did it, so she certainly won't alert anyone to his absence. How long can the women keep him tied up like that? Has he eaten? Gone to the bathroom? Gotten any medical care for the wound on his head? Inquiring minds want to know. The only two people who may slightly care about Rick are his daughter, Molly, or his ex, Elizabeth. As of now, neither one is looking for him. Liz is quite busy in the operating room with Lucas, trying to save Drew's life. Rick is probably the last thing on her mind, but eventually, when things die down, she may notice that her ex-husband isn't mysteriously lurking around the hospital, trying to find an excuse to talk to her. She may get worried because she has become accustomed to his pop-ins. Molly doesn't spend much time with her father, so she isn't concerned yet. But she may want to inform him about what went on with Cody and Ava. When she looks for him, she may be the one to notice he is missing. Will anyone report the missing Rick? Or will he spend weeks or months in the reverse panic room? What do you think? Let us know in the comments section. Also, next on GH, Jason is shocked, Alexis is floored, and Michael gets new intel. In addition to Jocelyn and Vaughn fearing for their lives, General Hospital spoilers for Friday, September 5th, 2025, will also focus on Brennan manipulating Anna and Michael getting new intel. Thanks to Britt sliding Joss a pair of manicure scissors, she and Vaughn are hopefully in a better place to escape their captors and figure out their next steps. Unfortunately for them, the danger will persist. Things escalate, causing Jocelyn and Vaughn to fear for their lives. Pascal and his 5 Poppies thugs must be responsible for the danger. But we're also wondering whether the big boss that Pascal and Britt work for will finally show up. And even though Jason has no idea that A, Joss is a WSB agent, B, she's currently in Croatia, and C, she's in trouble. Let's hope that Stone Cold hightails it back to the resort and helps prevent Britt, Joss, and Vaughn from being hurt or killed, and then Joss will have some serious explaining to do. But for now, Jason is shocked. Maybe he does make it back to 5 Poppies, where he runs into Joss. Meanwhile, in Port Charles, Brennan is fresh from telling Carly that he won't blindside her. He is not Drew Kane, but he knows he's shady and that he's hiding this monstrous secret from her, involving his recruiting her daughter for the WSB. That won't end well. Neither will the fact that Brennan manipulates Anna in Friday's episode. What does he plan to do? Admittedly, Alexis has 2 majorly dramatic things happening in her life right now. She, Christina, and Ava are holding Rick captive in her basement, and Drew was shot twice in the back, and he's fighting for his life. There's a good chance that Alexis may be a person of interest. Dante has already questioned her. General Hospital spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for Thursday, September 4th, 2025. It shows Nina Reeves accidentally saying too much. Anna Devane has a suspect in mind. Plus, what is Drew Kane's fate with Portia Robinson assisting? Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the ABC soap opera. Let's start off with Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor. They got out of Drew's place just in time. Kai even managed to get the evidence against Portia. However, nobody can know that they were in Drew's house the night he was shot. Meanwhile, Trina will have a theory. She ponders, what if she did something even more extreme tonight? It sounds like Trina suspects her mother of shooting Drew. Over at Alexis Davis' place, Dante Falconeri will stop by with some questions. Since Alexis publicly threatened Drew, the detective wants to ask some questions. However, the lawyer tells him to get out. Of course, Alix is also holding hostage Rick Lansing in her basement for a month. So, let's see how long Alexis, Christina Corinthos Davis, and Ava Jerome can keep this secret. General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, September 4th reveal that Anna will have a suspect in mind. Despite how Harrison Chase has tried to advocate for Willow Tate, Anna wonders if the young nurse is guilty. However, just how far will Chase go to protect Willow? While he thinks he's being a good friend, Willow has done so much more than he's aware of. Fans will also see Lulu Spencer make a huge discovery. Tracy Quartermain tells Michael Corinthos to keep a secret from Monica Quartermain. Also, Nina seems to make a slip at the hospital. Talking to Willow, the blonde is asked how she knew that Drew was shot. Uh-oh, it sounds like maybe Nina knows a bit more than she should. Could she have shot Drew? In order to protect her daughter and grandchildren, Nina absolutely could have. However, Drew isn't dead, at least not yet. So, let's see who he blames after waking up from surgery. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Thursday, September 4th, 2025? General Hospital spoilers and updates for Thursday, September 4th. Tease someone has doubts, another a warning, and someone else makes a plea. Trina Robinson has her doubts, Alexis Davis delivers a warning, and Tracy Quartermain makes a plea. As Trina and Kai Taylor await news on Drew Kane, who's in surgery to remove 2 bullets from his back, Trina clearly has her doubts. Clearly, they are discussing possible suspects in Drew's shooting, as Trina asks, what if she did something even more extreme tonight? It sounds like she might have Willow Tate in mind, although she is aware Drew has other female enemies who would tick all the suspect boxes. Although both Willow and her mother, Nina Reeves, have been known to do extreme things, might Trina have yet someone else in mind? Are they even aware that Trina's mother, Portia Robinson, scrubbed in to assist Lucas Jones with Drew's surgery? Could Trina possibly suspect her own mother in the shooting? Elsewhere, Lulu Spencer appears to be at work, sitting at a desk as she questions someone else about some risky behavior or risky intentions. She seems a bit dumbfounded as she says, "If you're willing to risk all that, this must be big. Who might she be talking to, and what is the risk referred to? Is someone confiding their intentions to do what they think is right, in spite of the risk they'll lose everything? Perhaps even their own freedom, their family, or their job?" Dante Falconeri has shown up, apparently at Alexis's house, and she seems to be delivering a warning. She won't let him in the door and tells him, "I have to ask you to leave." It's no wonder she doesn't want the detective at her house, considering she has Rick Lansing tied up in her basement. Dante is aware of the restraining order Drew Kane took out against Alexis and the rest of Emily Scout Kane's family. But is Alexis aware that Drew was shot and in surgery at GH? Is that what Dante is there to tell her? In the meantime, Anna Devane and Harrison Chase are on the case at the hospital, interviewing suspects that might have an unusual interest in Drew's status. Anna was discussing with Chase his lack of objectivity concerning Willow, since they were once married. Chase had acknowledged that Anna is more objective where Willow's concerned, and it sounds like they are discussing her. Anna questions Chase, "Are you suggesting that makes her innocent? Since Willow doesn't have an alibi for the time she left the hospital." All that Elizabeth Weber and Lucas Jones know is she came back into her shift soaking wet, saying she needed to clear her head and took a walk. Back at the Quartermain mansion, Tracy is talking to Michael Corinthos about Drew's shooting, and she makes a plea to him. She asks him that he makes sure that Monica Quartermain never hears about this. Even though Monica was highly displeased with Drew's actions over the past several months, like Tracy, she still acknowledged him as Alan Quartermain's son. Monica is in precarious health, per the things that Tracy has said lately about her. She doesn't want Monica to know that Drew could die, even though he was stabilized. In the meantime, Nina has arrived at the hospital and is talking to Willow, even though it's risky. Willow had cut her off again. This was after finding out Drew had slept with her while starting to romance Willow, which was also why Willow walked out on their wedding. As the news of Drew's shooting is spreading through Port Charles and sending shockwaves, Willow has a question. She asks her mother how did she know that Drew was shot? Even though there's a pretty good chance that Willow herself was the shooter, is she going to suspect Nina and throw her under the bus? General Hospital spoilers say that if there's anything that we've learned about life in the soap opera world, it's that you are never truly dead, even if they hammer in that last nail in your coffin. And that might ring true for Sam McCall, who hasn't been on the small screen in almost a year now. However, there's one huge sign that points at the possibility of Kelly Monaco possibly coming back to General Hospital to reprise her role on the hit ABC soap. That's because she was supposed to start her own podcast with her friend Shanna Moakler called Bad Bunnies, but she never did. In March of this year, Kelly promised her fans that she was not going to hold back on any topic, and that she was willing to talk about everything because she owed it to her fans. Well, that never happened. In hindsight, Kelly probably knew that if she were to trash General Hospital, there's no way that she would ever be asked back on the show. Going the Ingo Rademacher route would have also killed her career. That's why there's some speculation suggesting Kelly is looking to come back to General Hospital sooner rather than later. After all, the possibility is still there. Even though she supposedly got fired by GH's executive director Frank Valentini, the same had happened to Steve Burton, and he's been welcomed back on the canvas despite his past history with the show, too. In other words, anything can still happen. And that's probably why Kelly has decided not to throw the show under the bus. So far, Kelly Monaco herself has not made any comments about the matter, but we will definitely update you with all of the latest details the moment they come in. Watch this space for more. General Hospital airs weekdays on the ABC network. Check your local listings for times. In the meantime, let us know what you think by leaving us a line with your thoughts in our comments section below. General Hospital spoilers hint that anytime two people land in bed together, there's always a chance that an unexpected pregnancy could arise, especially if a female character has hit the sheets with two different men in such a short period of time. Portia Robinson already experienced how ugly things can get when you don't know who your baby's daddy is. With Trina Robinson, could lightning strike twice? While Portia isn't exactly in her childbearing years, anything is possible in the land of soaps. Portia had recently reunited with Curtis Ashford and landed in bed with him to solidify things. Still, on Thursday, August 29th, the two called it quits, and as quickly as she, Curtis, walked out that door, Isaiah Gannon walked in. And the two did the deed in her hospital office. This sounds like the perfect storm for a "Who's Your Daddy" storyline. As Portia and Isaiah did something inappropriate by work standards, it seems as though a pregnancy will likely be on the horizon. To add to the messiness, this isn't the first time Portia has been stuck in a situation like this. And to make things stickier, Curtis is once again involved. There's a very good chance that the baby will end up being Isaiah's, and that Portia will lie her way out of things by telling Curtis he's the father. After all, Curtis will assume he is, and Portia may not outright tell her estranged husband that she's expecting. He could find out by overhearing it or another way, and the baby might be a reason for the two to once again come together. Add that Portia is an expert at editing medical records as the co-chief of staff at the hospital, and she'll be able to get away with passing her baby off as Curtis's, no matter what the DNA of the child is. General Hospital spoilers suggest fans are in turmoil, as a bold theory suggests Monica Quartermain could be the one to shoot Drew Kane in a dramatic bid for revenge or justice. This idea posits Monica, bedridden but fueled by fury over Drew's remorseless menace behavior, like his affair with Willow Tate, blackmailing and manipulations, musters the strength for a final act, perhaps with help from her manservant Yuri. It's a way to give Monica a fiery exit, honoring her legacy amid rumors of Leslie Charleson's real-life passing in January. But fans are divided. Some love the twist for its soap opera flair, while others decry it as tarnishing Charleson's esteemed reputation as the Quartermain matriarch. Will this theory hold water or fizzle out? The theory hinges on Monica's deep-rooted disdain for Drew's antics, viewing him as a disgrace to the family name, especially after his twin Jason Morgan's heroic image. Bedridden, she could orchestrate the shooting via Yuri, then confess on her deathbed, framing it as a last stand against Drew's toxicity. This creative spin adds irony, as Monica's past scandals, like her affair with Dr. Pierce Dorman, shows she's no stranger to drama. Fans see it as a nod to her fierce protectiveness, but the idea of her pulling the trigger, even indirectly, feels out of character to some, risking a stain on Charleson's portrayal of a resilient survivor. Spoilers leak fan backlash. Screams of tarnishing a legend's reputation. Many fans are up in arms, arguing this plot would leave a permanent blemish on Leslie Charleson's legacy, turning Monica from a beloved matriarch into a vengeful killer. Social media is ablaze with comments like, "Monica deserves a graceful exit, not this mess." Others worry it undermines Charleson's decades of nuanced work, especially if tied to her real-life health issues. While some embrace the shock value for ratings, the consensus is that staining Monica's character dishonors Charleson's contributions. Alternative theories, like Curtis Ashford or Sonny Corinthos as shooters, gain traction to preserve Monica's dignity. If this theory plays out, Monica's shot at Drew could spark a Quartermain civil war, with Tracy Quartermain defending the family honor. But fans speculate a twist. Perhaps Monica fakes involvement to protect someone else, like a new character stepping in as her ally, maybe even Tracy, her longtime nemesis/sister-in-law. With Charleson's status uncertain, this could be GH's way to bid farewell. But backlash might force a rewrite. Will Monica's legacy endure unscathed? Or will this theory redefine her? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!